American provides 75% of the U.S.'s power. Climate 16. Electricity is a lifeblood of the modern society, and rural electric cooperatives in the U.S. have a long history of providing reliable and affordable power to the villages and small communities throughout the nation. And collapse has started with the 42 million people who live 47 cities and recovering 75 million nation. Has been operating since 500 of the 3,134 countries. Or counties. Direction that means that the Springfield plant has otherwise state and many others like it statewide have essentially been operating for years without an updated permit that says settling in the emissions limitation of the environmental ordinance is probably the larger problem with the financial plants and the longer operating without a link. Rural America is a special advantage in which we have a place to go. Most of us don't live anymore, and much frees us from the construct of our imagination. And rural America starts from the storehouse which our values draw on the rhetoric about the rural is seldom neutral, and many Americans will succumb to
emissions in general is a good idea.
Right. Okay. What is your mechanism for reducing emissions then?
The one is to criticize the way we go about.
Yeah. So what would our new policies to reduce emissions look like?
We're talking about instead of making like public policy, we're making the policy public through like the Pruitt 06 card. We're trying to reform the way we make policies because we're always exclusionary.
What is the end result? Are you saying this is a prior question to creating transformative politics, or will you defend an end result?
Yes,
policy that reduces emissions?
Yeah, we're saying without criticizing and just like integrating this urban-rural divide, we will never have a policy that will be effective to help for it.
Okay, that makes sense. So why is the affirmative key? Why does it solve this form of classism or ruralism?
But what we're saying, first of all, there's the discussions of place are very important. We should start analyzing the oppressions by discussions of place, and we think that's there. We have a key break in the debate space because there's not conversations a lot about it going on. We believe that even talking about this is very key because like no one cares about it.
Okay, then why is if talking about it is key to the education that you're describing, why does the ballot matter?
The ballot sends a signal, first of all. Second of all, like if we win.
What do you mean by it sends a signal?
It's
well, like you used the example of the other night whenever the previous CEDA winners were like sitting there talking to us about like having won CEDA before. Like everyone's researched what they ran on their F.
So you would have to win CEDA for people to.
No, but winning this debate is symbolic.
Why is anyone?
Like it proves that people will research what we're doing.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Pruitt evidence right now. It critiques the rhetoric of the rhetorical way. I mean, it's I think it's like the second.
Okay, so
Pruitt piece of evidence. So it's a critique of the rhetoric of ruralism. How does that apply?
Well, it's not just the critique of ruralism rhetoric, but also the legal framework. Like Pruitt is she's a lawyer.
Okay, what do you mean by legal framework? Is it possible to create a climate policy that centers the experience of?
We're saying the current situation is lacks a focus on
rural areas
because the dehumanization spills over.
The rhetoric and like the way we frame our legal framework, it goes hand in hand. Because the problem is that nobody thinks anyone lives in the rural areas, and therefore we don't need to take like action on those areas. Then there's no legal framework following.
CEDA.
What's the order?
We need 3 applicants.
Case and the order of the app.
Yeah.
You said 3 off, case on. That's it. 3 off, comma.
Yeah.
First off is topicality. The firm should defend desirability of domestic climate policy, including at least substantial increase in restrictions on private sector emissions in the United States, and the United States should meet the debate center around the government normatively doing a climate policy. Erickson, in 3, a topic of the agent doing the action, the United States should adopt a policy. The subject is the agent is the subject should, urges action should adopt means to put a policy through governmental means and let the entire debate whether something ought to occur, and regulations and taxes are the implementation of restrictions. Babcock House of 2000. Allocation of economic burdens, restriction or self-imposed regulation or taxes, tax rates, pricing and trading emissions, permits and time payments, and climate policy mandates to decrease emissions from water and 11. Climate policy mandates to reduce emissions from land use, agricultural, fossil fuel combustion, reducing demand for emission-intensive goods, and boosting energy efficiency, switching to tech which produce fewer emissions. Now violation. The affirmative is not a restriction on the private sector emissions. Vote negative once predictable limits. Resolution provides the same point to table pre-tornado social order number 6. After talk about outside of climate policy, including restrictions, which means to be impossible. 2, negative absent interpretation. 2 is ground. The limit for counterplaying on the down, making it possible for the negative to counterplay with less restrictive market measures that deter emissions but don't set a cap on them. Our interpretation requires the affirmative to take a large scale change in the status quo, which is the best for disad ground. Now, the orthodox Marxism attempt to inject rule consciousness gets co-opted by capitalism, recreates the Southern strategy in Nixon, where appeals to rural folks were made that demonized urban black folks and embraced true rural America, while they insidiously engaged in deregulation that killed poor folks, and which is why we have